bleach in my Brita filter. Hey guys, this is Angie, and this is my first story time about my evil roommate from freshman year. And we're gonna talk about it as I get ready to do absolutely nothing. Okay, so this was my freshman year of college, spring semester, January 2022. Yes, I'm giving the dates and I have receipts in case anybody want to get crazy. But alas, for like the past 3 months, I didn't have a roommate. The roommate that I originally came with, she moved out because she couldn't come to Georgia State anymore. So I was at Georgia State. And this new roommate, we're gonna call her Detty, right? Because she was dirty, and she was evil, and she was wicked. Detty came in January. And at first, everything was cool vibes. Like, she came, decorated the apartment. She was always cooking, and she would be giving me food. So I'm like, hey, you give me food, I vibe with you. We're gonna be cool. Wrong. The second week, the first transgression began, right? She was black, and it was just a cultural thing, but she used to wash her hair in the kitchen sink, right? So she washed her hair in the kitchen sink. The problem was that she would wash her hair in the kitchen sink and then leave hairballs on my sponge and my dishes. Okay, so the least she would do was like move my dishes out the way or whatever. But even that, she would leave hairballs on my sponges. And when it comes to food, anything I hate, any type of hair near my food, blah blah blah. But and it's also like, why are you leaving hairballs on my sponge? So I, came up to her. I'm like, hey, can you not do this anymore? She's like, oh, sorry. Da, da, da. So the next time she washed her hair in the sink, she would tell me like, oh, get your dishes out if you don't want hair on them and stuff like that. So immediately I'm like, this girl, she's a bit strange, but that's fine. I just knew from those interactions alone that we wouldn't be friends. I don't know if it's just like a cultural thing, but I'm Nigerian. And so when you enter a room, I've always been raised, when you enter a room, you have to greet, say good morning, say good afternoon, acknowledge that person who's there. And I would always, say good morning, say what's up to her. And she would do it, but then after the hairball thing, she would just stop talking to me. She just wouldn't like acknowledge me or whatever. So then I obviously wouldn't be saying anything back to her. The reason why that was a problem or became a problem, and now it kind of seemed like there was kind of tension in the air. Like, you're in the living room, I'm in the living room as well, but nobody's saying anything. Isn't that kind of weird? You know what I'm saying? So that was that. Eat the food, and if you get sick, we'll see if I spray something in it. So that's when I was like, oh, I'm calling the police. A week or two after the whole hairball thing, she would just be leaving stuff in the kitchen, in the living room. It's starting to get very clutterful. She would do the laundry, leave bleach, detergent, everything like that in the kitchen area, whatever. So I had chicken and beef stew with white rice on the stove. And they were covered with some lids, but the lids weren't properly it didn't properly fit the pot. This girl came, sprayed cleaning detergent all over the stove where my pots filled with food still were. She came, sprayed cleaning detergent all over the stove, and then she just left. She didn't clean the stove. She just sprayed it, and she left. I come out, I said, no way she did this. I texted her, I said, why would you spray cleaning solution on my food, essentially? And she's like, oh, don't tell me what to do about the kitchen. Eat the food, and if you get sick, we'll see if I spray something in it. So that's when I was like, oh, I'm calling the police. Like, oh, no, I'm calling the police. From that moment alone, I knew why people don't call the police, because the police are actually useless. They were telling me, oh, well, you can't prove that she sprayed cleaning solution in your food. And it looks like, from the text messages, it looks like y'all were going back and forth. Then that stupid, tiny police officer, I'll never forget him. He was trying to give me a lecture about, hey, I used to have a bad roommate once. I'm on the phone with my mom. I'm like, I don't care. He's like, hey, listen to me. Who are you talking to? I don't care. So he's like, yeah, but we can't do anything about it, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, you're useless. All right, that's fine. Cool. So after that interaction happened, still January. This is still January. Within the first couple of weeks of her being here, I'm like, oh my gosh, we're not gonna get along. Like, this is not it. We're now in February. And by this point, the tensions are very, very high, mainly because I just feel like she's a big ass hater. So now let's get into the bleach incident. I think this is like the endish of February. and I asked my mom to come up and make me some egusi. So as I went down to the lobby to come pick my mom up, Betty and her friend was leaving the apartment. So I'm going in, they're coming out, right? Mind you, I told you how she leaves stuff everywhere. She left the Clorox bleach right there on the kitchen counter. I didn't think she did anything at first. So my mom makes the egusi. She also brought some Nigerian food from the African market. She also brought Vita Malt, my favorite drink. My sister and my mom, they're the one who drank the water from Britta. And I know it's kind of funny, but they've never had Britta water before. They've either had water out of water bottles, water from the fridge, water from the sink, you know, stuff like that. So they've never bought a Britta like I did. So I'm eating my egusi, I'm drinking from my Vita Malt, having a good time. My mom takes a sip. She's like, Jola, does your water usually taste like bleach? Immediately, I got up, I ran to the fridge, took out the Brita filter, opened it, smells like bleach. At this point, I'm spazzing because it's one thing to try to come for my food and try to like poison me. But you didn't even get me, you got my mom and my little sister. The whole container where you pour water in, it's smelling of bleach. So I'm going crazy, calling the police again. This time I'm like, okay, this is irrefutable. Like this, we have witnesses. My mom is a witness. Like we saw them leaving as we entered, blah, blah, blah. Police are useless. Again, they're telling me, can't prove that she's the one who sprayed, put the bleach in the Brita filter, and I'm not drinking the water. So that's also what the police officer said. He was like, you can't prove that she was the one who put it in there, and I'm not drinking the water. Because he knew. So at this point, I am so livid because I'm like, oh my gosh, this girl's trying to kill me, and nothing can be done. Heard you. So immediately my mom was like, you know, we have to get a secret camera. Like, we have to catch her in the act. They talking about, oh, you can't prove, we can't prove. We about to prove right now. Okay, so after that, I bought a secret camera. It was disguised as a clock. And the reason why I didn't get something that you can put on the wall or whatever, I didn't want her to see it. I didn't want her to know I had a camera. I wanted to catch her in the act so she can go, not to jail. I want her to go to prison, okay? So that's why it was a secret camera. I was trying to catch her in the act. But after some time, because the way the camera was placed, it was right there on the kitchen counter across from the sink. So as you're washing the sink, the camera is like looking, the clock camera is looking right at you. And after some time, the girl peeped that it was a camera. You know what she started doing? She started unplugging the camera. And so now it's like, if I didn't think you were doing anything before, now I know for a fact you're doing something. So by this point, I'm not comfortable with eating any of the food that's out there. I was feeling uneasy at all times. I'll be like, bruh, this girl is crazy. Like, she's going to do something to me. And I didn't even know what I did to her. I think a month. I think this is just all the month of March where we're going through this and I'm feeling uneasy. Every time I come home, I'm just like, I hate home. Like, I don't even want to come back here. Some time passes and then I'm like, you know what? Screw her. At this point, I'm not about to just go to my apartment, go straight to my room. Now I'm in the living room. Now you feel, clearly you're mad at my presence. You're just mad about me existing. I'm gonna really exist in your face so you can be mad, even madder. At this point, she already knew that the clock was a camera. She was washing some knives and she put the knives in the camera and she was like, yeah. So the big finale where one of us ended up having to get moved out. This was a Sunday and I was warming up some of my food that my mom made me. The way our apartment is, it's this little hallway like this where you have to go and then go into the kitchen. Like the kitchen was a strip. And then the laundry room where you just open the door and it's a washing machine and a dryer. It was right there. So it was this little strip and she's bigger. So she's taking up, you know, a good chunk of the hallway. And then I was coming back to get my Vita Malt, you know, my favorite drink. She threw her basket right where I was going to walk. And I don't like you, so first I'm not gonna pick it up and move it. So I'm just walking as normal. I end up like kicking the basket a little bit. She turned, while my back was turned around, she pushed me. She's like, don't touch my stuff. Mind you, I'm using this as a demonstration. Imagine this is a Vita Malt bottle, right? I turned around, I said, don't you ever touch me. And I think in that moment, right, it was the accent change. It was the active bottle in my hand that looked like I was actually about to bash her. She realized, oh, this girl's actually crazy. I think because I called the cops, because every time I called the cops, she just happened to not be home. And it wasn't because I was scared of her that I was like, okay, let me call the cops when she's gone. No, she just happened to not be there. So because of that, I think she thought in her brain is because I was scared of her. but I was actually scared for her. Little did she know, I used to tussle back in the day. And so the only reason I didn't tussle with her immediately is because we're both grown adults and I don't want to go to jail. I didn't want to have a record. I already thought through all this through. But once you put your hands on me, it's crazy. So at that point, I'm belligerent. I'm fuming. I'm like, no, what is wrong with this girl? I let her do all this stuff, and is she crazy? My mom, that's my best friend. So immediately I go to my room. I call my mom, but I don't go in my room and stay in my room. I go to my room and I come and face her like this. I'm on the phone with my mom. I'm like, I don't know if I should say everything that I was saying. But let's just say I was calling her every single name out of the book. Everything that you could think of me calling her, I called her that in her face while I'm on the phone with my mom. This put her hands on me. Is she crazy? My mom's on the phone. She's just like, does she not know you're Nigerian? Like, does she not know you're crazy? Like, what's wrong with her? I don't understand. I'm like, this ugly. And all the girl can say, I don't know about y'all, but if somebody's saying all this other stuff to my face, I'm walking up to them. I'm not going to be just standing there right there. Because it's not like I was hiding. I'm right here in front of her. I think I had the phone in one hand and the Vita bottle in one hand too. She's just like, oh, whatever, you're scary. You're going to call the cops. Whatever, you're scary. You're going to call the cops. I'm not calling no cops. And, yeah, she got removed a week later. Yeah. And her reign of terror was finally over. Honestly, I just think that whole experience was just so crazy because I'm like, my mom, she told me ever since I was a kid, she said I had that type of personality where people either love me or they absolutely hate. When I say they hate, they hate me. And I think this was the perfect example of that because, kid you not, I don't think I was 100% innocent in the situation because I was definitely going back at her, right? But I never did anything for her to be so mad. Like, I never... Putting bleach in my Brita filter, what did I do, for real? But it was a lesson to her, I think, to never underestimate anybody, because I scarred her, for sure. She was scared. The bottle in my hand and everything, I'm like, she was scared. But anyways, that was my first story time. Oh my God. It'd be like, I can't believe this is my life. You know what I'm saying? But first story time, stay tuned for more. If you enjoyed this story time, stay tuned for more fashion, get ready with me, lifestyle, everything that an it girl encompasses. Angie Coda is here. Thanks for watching. Bye.